All right, we'll start the meeting out. We'll call it to order. It's 6:01, Kathy, and I will start by reading the remote meeting procedures. This meeting will be conducted remotely over Zoom. Attendance by board commission members will be remote, and remote attendance shall count towards quorum. The meeting will be broadcast live and recorded on ECAT. To use Zoom, you'll need to use the link on the agenda or download the Zoom application at www.zoom.us. Create an account or use one with a call-in number listed on the agenda. You will need the webinar ID to join by phone only. While conducting meetings remotely, we'll endeavor to keep the meeting operations as close to our standard procedures as possible. Our use of this platform will necessitate some additional meeting protocols. While the board members of commissioners and applicants will be on video and audio, public participants will join the webinar as attendee, meaning they are muted and with no video feed from them. During the public testimony portion of the meeting, members of the public can be recognized by using the raise hand function found on participants from Zoom or make a request with the Q&A function. If you're joining only by phone, you can press star 9 to raise your hand. If an applicant wishes to display materials, please make the request to the chair and the email materials to board staff for sharing on the screen. When starting testimony, please state your name and address for the record. There's a markup function in Zoom which will allow you to call out specific areas of presentation materials. As in any public meeting, indecent behavior will not be tolerated, and anyone who abuses use of the meeting platforms will be terminated from the meeting. Business will be handled at the times indicated on the agenda. Business not concluded in the allotted time will be tabled to the end of the meeting to allow for timely logins and remote attendance. Board members are asked to announce themselves when making a motion in seconds so it will be clear to the audience and minute takers who made the motions. All votes will be by roll call. When all business indicated on the agenda has been completed, the members will vote to adjourn the meeting, signaling the end of the meeting and terminating the ECAT recording. All participants will be disconnected from the webinar at that time. Applicants will join the webinar as an attendee and promoted to panelist at their agenda item. Applicants will then be able to share their screens and present their materials. As much as possible, presentation materials should be provided beforehand so the materials can be included in the public record. Individual board chair and staff may wish to keep screen sharing to their computer. Applicants are encouraged to speak with staff prior to the meeting on how materials will be presented. We've got that done. All right. So I had sent out, we'll start with the approval of the prior meeting minutes. I had sent those out today. That was the February 4th, 2025 meeting minutes. Any questions, comments, concerns about the meeting minutes? Actually, let me take a step back. I have to do a roll call. So before we hit that, let me just take a roll call vote for attendance. I am here. Ken?
Present.
Thanks, Ken. Jamie?
Here.
All right. Lauren?
Here.
Here. Dave? I don't think Dave can make it, Dave Field. I don't see him on the scroll here. Yep, I don't see Dave. Okay. Dan?
Here.
Nancy? I don't see Nancy.
Attending tonight.
Is she?
She declined.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Thanks. I appreciate it. All right, Jason?
Here.
And Lisa?
I am here.
Okay, great. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 6 voting members, so we're all set with quorum. So why don't we step back to that agenda item? And the February 4th, 2025 meeting minutes, I didn't see any one asking any questions, comments, concerns. So do I have a motion to accept the meeting minutes as presented?
So moved. Stebbins.
Stebbins. Do I have a second?
Second, Bruce.
Bruce, Jason. All right, we'll do a roll call vote. I am a yes. Ken? I think Ken's still there, no? Did we lose Ken?
Ken is declining being a panelist, as is Chad.
Oh, okay. He was on there, I thought, for a second.
Yeah, he was, Andy. Will you just try it again? Because sometimes people accidentally hit decline. He may not realize.
All right, let me try again. I've done that a couple of times.
Yeah, thank you.
It says he will be joining. Yes.
Okay.
As will Chad. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Jamie.
You're welcome.
Let's see if he pops in.
Yeah, he's back, Andy.
All right, you back, Ken?
Yep.
Okay, good. We're just going over the meeting minutes, so it's your turn to vote.
Yes, I heard it.
All right. Okay. Ready? Ken is a yes. Jamie?
Yes.
Lauren?
Yes.
Okay, Dan?
Yes.
And Jason?
Yes.
Okay, so those pass unanimously. All right, so we'll get right to it. We'll get to the Easton Public Safety and Public Works project update. First, I figured, we have these weekly meetings, but I figured the NBC would like to meet somebody from Fontaine Brothers, so I think, Griffin, you're on here somewhere, I see. So maybe if you just want to introduce yourself, tell us a little about the company and, just kind of give us a little rundown so far.
Yep. So Griffin Kucher, project manager with Fontaine. Rob Day is a project executive. He might be hopping on at some point tonight. Big picture, started out there maybe a month ago. Got trailers set up, site fence set up. We're working towards, it's a lot of just moving dirt right now. Foundations will be starting in the next couple weeks. So that'll be a big milestone. Yeah,
A lot
right
of
now,
submittals.
Submittals, RFIs, working through buyout.
Yeah.
Just really getting ready to hit the ground running.
Yeah, it's exciting to see. Obviously, starting to see some motion at the two sites. Did anyone have any questions for Griffin or anyone from the construction side? I just figured it was good for people to meet him. I didn't know if anyone from the NBC had any particular questions.
Andy, I appreciate you having him on as well. I was looking forward to it. And Griffin, quick question on Depot Street: have all the trees been cleared as far back as we're going? I drive by regularly. Yeah, there's still more to go back, right?
Yeah,
So,
not yet.
Mitch shaking his head.
Just the public safety site has been cleared. And then we have kind of the wetland crossing that goes back to the DPW site. But as of right now, we can't. We're waiting on a Army Corps permit in order to put we got to put swamp mats in to cross the wetlands. So we can't go back there just yet.
How does that look in terms of, I can only imagine, Army Corps permit? Sounds like a long time. What's that process and how long does that generally take?
We just went over it pretty in detail during our meeting. Greg, you want to give a quick update on?
Yeah. We're going to
and-
chat about it at some point tonight, but we might as well chat about it now. Sure.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, so Andy, the initial part of this permitting started really with local permitting, which is kind of part of the Army Corps' process. You have to go through local permitting as well. So those efforts obviously started in like June of 2023, Jamie. So permit application formally was prepared in October of 24. There's kind of with Army Corps kind of a pre-filing before you file the entire permitting package. December of 24, the entire permitting was submitted to Army Corps. We did not receive comments until I believe March 28th. So we've now responded to those comments. They were generally requesting confirmation on things that are required and were within the submission. They just wanted some backup on most things. There was one minor adjustment based on the site contractor's available swamp mats. So swamp mats are basically big dunnage. They're wood piles that are sitting on the front of the site if you drive by. They're slightly wider than what we had originally submitted. So we modified that one small item, recalculated just a little bit of the impact area. We're still well within the allowable limits. No real change, just that we clarified that with them to make sure that wouldn't be an issue. Those have now been responded to, so we're awaiting and hopeful, based on the comments that we did get, that approval will be hopefully imminent.
Great. That sounds better than I would have expected. Tell me what the worst case scenario, what's the latest we could get the permits and not be pushed back from that portion of the project and clear? I imagine we would love to be cleared already, but just give me the worst case scenario.
I think
That's a more complicated answer, I think, than we could probably give specificity to, Jamie.
So, Greg, the great way that Robin Griff put it this morning, originally when Fontaine was bidding the project, and the way that the drawings and the order of conditions were interpreted and written, they were of the mindset that they weren't going to be able to get back there until those bridges were actually in. We actually have an opportunity with the way that the order of operations is actually understood to be able to get back there using those swamp mats. So right now we're working on a little bit of, provided time. We were never thinking we are going to be back there this early, so it's really unfortunate we're not able to get back there, but we're not impacting anything yet. I think we talked about maybe end of May and beginning of June being where it might become an issue, right, Griff?
Yeah, so basically, in order to get back to where we're installing the bridges, we have to get the swamp mats in, which probably takes maybe 2 weeks for our site guy to set that, basically give us access to where those bridges are going. And then also part of the conditions, they want us to be working back there in the dry season, which is July. So I think that is a little flexible based off our meeting with Conservation Commission, but kind of just the steps that it takes. So you get the swamp mats in, then you got to get the abutments to basically land the bridge. So right now we have the abutments planned for June, July, and then the actual bridge itself probably won't be ready until October. So it's really kind of getting in there, getting the kind of more invasive work done with the abutments, and then just given the lead time for the actual bridge, those won't be ready until October. But as Walter mentioned, if we're able to use the swamp mats to get back the DPW, so we could start the clearing back on that site maybe sooner than we originally would have anticipated. I think I'd say end of next month, early June is probably a good something to shoot for with Army Corps. It sounds like, Greg, it seems like your team's getting some better feedback than what we might have heard, or sounds like there wasn't much feedback previously, so we're at least having those conversations. So I think we're in a pretty good place.
Thanks, Griffin. One other question: the bridge completion in October, is that within the originally anticipated completion of the actual bridge and abutments?
Yes. So based off the order conditions, the abutments were going July, and then that's probably like a 2-month duration between the two bridges, and then the actual bridge themselves, that's like October until the end of the year. So we wouldn't have the actual road back to DPW until probably the first of the year.
Okay, and we're comfortable with that, Walter. That's kind of where you envision this from the onset. Great.
That's really how Fontaine was bidding the project and bidding out the schedule. We really don't. We set the end dates, and they kind of fill in the puzzle pieces from contract award to completion. But we felt confident. We just got their 2 schedules, so we're going to be reviewing those. But we're confident right now that those are going to be achievable.
Great. Thank you all.
Yep.
Thank you.
Just so everyone's aware, stormwater pollution prevention plans are in at Main Street, in at the front of Depot Street. They've been reviewed by Concom. Site fence is up at Main Street. Activity is kind of heavy and pretty heavy over there right now. A lot of machines, a lot of moving pieces. A little bit lighter over at Main Street, Depot Street. The fence will be going up at Depot Street pretty quickly here with scrim on it to kind of keep everyone out. And then really over the next couple weeks, couple months, what we're going to see on site is a lot of hauling of material, moving material around, and then foundations are going to start, followed probably pretty quickly by structural steel. So that's going to be the next few weeks, few months of construction, what you're going to see as you're driving by on those roads.
So we don't get out of order a little bit. I didn't know, is there a formal presentation or not, Walter? That was it, right? That's what I thought.
No,
as far as
just
the
a general project update.
Yeah.
We'll plan on next month, Andy, having our monthly report with some site photographs. Really, you'd be looking at piles of dirt right now.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, you're just gonna see missing
Yeah, or a
trees.
hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fine, that's fine. Did anyone have any more questions for Griffin? Why, he's here, we don't have to keep him for the whole meeting. Anyone have any other questions for Fontaine so far?
I got nowhere to be, so I'm planning on being here.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I didn't want to keep you, Griffin, I know. It's after hours, so, well, that's great. Thank you. And Jamie, just to kind of fill in what you said, when I heard Corps of Engineers myself, because we really hadn't heard that before, I was a little concerned, but it sounds like, having the conversation today at the other meetings, this was all planned for, and go figure it's going to take some time with the Corps of Engineers, so.
I'm not sure if Greg mentioned it, but we submitted over 6 months ago, Greg, and
Yeah, October, he said, yeah.
He mentioned that, and that does make me feel, I'll just say, these guys have come to, we expect it, and you guys deliver it, so thanks for being way ahead of that as well, because it scared the hell out of me.
Yeah, no, I would say, and Jamie, the Corps was a little slow to pick things up, in our opinion. We've followed up numerous times, and our wetland permitting expert from Weston and Sampson is in direct contact with the reviewer now, and has been for about a month and a half. So that's a great sign, right? It's in review. It's not like waiting in a queue anywhere or something like that. Is actively being reviewed. We have active comments. Based on the list of comments, I don't suspect we'll get many more, but if we do, we will respond, appropriately. But the wetland permitting expert that we have feels like we're in good shape. Again, we'd love to be done with it, but we are not currently concerned by the comments made during the review.
Great.
Good. Anyone else have any questions as far as the general project update goes? I don't know if anyone has any other questions or where we're at, or. All right, not seeing any.
Yeah, I'll just throw one more. Griffin maybe can step in, and Walter probably knows this too. On Main Street, have we run into any other, as we're clearing the land over there and preparing for the foundation work, any other issues with the ledge?
no, it's been pretty clear. We have our geotech out on site monitoring. He's been witnessing bottom of excavation down to acceptable glacial till, and when we're ready, it'll come back up, and then foundation excavation will start.
Great.
Walter, I just have one quick question to throw it out to the group. As far as doing walkthroughs, at what point would you suggest we start doing some walkthroughs? Because I'm just thinking of like the Blanche James, where it was like, every other Wednesday or something. I didn't know what your recommendations might be. Similar.
So Andy, I'm not sure if you mean municipal building committee walkthroughs or something else. I'm not sure that we haven't been requested for like a DPW walkthrough, but really these guys know the building. They designed it for 3 years with us. They can see the space. They're welcome to stop by. I don't know that we need to set something up formal. If that comes up, we're happy to set it up. But I wouldn't say that, if anyone wants a tour, we're happy to show you whenever, but I wouldn't say we're going to be anywhere near ready for tours anytime soon. So 6 months at least, maybe.
I know, I just wanted to kind of put that out there.
Yeah.
The similar thing we did at Blanche James was you could walk through, what was it, every other week?
We offered that to DPW. It was something they wanted.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure that they want that here. They, like I said, they kind of know exactly where they're going, and they've seen the building. So if it comes up, we're happy to take that for them, but we'll kind of leave that up to them if they want that.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't know if that was more open to I used to go on those. I just didn't know if it was open to a more broader group. Maybe it wasn't.
We could set something up for this group here if they wanted to, walk through. But I think, like Walter was saying, we're still a little too early in the process. Maybe
Sure.
After structural steel goes up or after the topping off ceremony, we get something on the books.
Yeah, so we're looking towards the end of the year if we're going to do anything. Yeah.
That
Just so
makes
people have an
sense.
idea.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Andy, I appreciate you bringing it up. Just driving by, I'm obviously curious as well. Walter, who from PMA, is it you? Are you, when does what's your cadence? When are you actually on site? And I forget what it was with Blanche James. How many days a week?
We are there. We have trailers. If you haven't driven by, we have our trailers set up at both sites. So someone from Ronnie is our clerk of the works for PMA. He's there every single day. Since we've got power. Mitch and I have been there. We were there today after our meeting because we didn't have power this morning. But Mitch and I are there. Chad's there, and Chris will be there on meeting day. But 3 to 4 to 5 of us on a daily basis. Any one of us is there.
Great. Thank you. And
Yep.
How do you split that up between the two sites? Is it
Day-to-day communication between all 5 of us.
Okay.
Would depend on what's going on that day. If we got testing going on, maybe Ronnie will be at fire substation. If Mitch and I have a meeting for the public safety project, maybe we'll be over at public safety. It's just kind of it might even honestly be hour by hour. We've kind of been jumping back and forth between sites too. So, you guys, if you're trying to get in touch with us, or if you want to just stop in, either just give us a call or just pop your head in the trailer. Either is fine with us.
great? Thank you.
Yep.
All right, any other questions, comments, concerns about the general project update? All right, seeing none, we're gonna go into the discussion and vote on the technical review committee protocol. Did you want to just lay that out, Walter, so people understand what we're doing there?
Yeah, and Chad, jump in anytime. So on the Easton Blanche James project, this exact same memo was provided to the school building committee and then later recognized at the select board. So I think everyone knows in construction, everything is moving pretty quickly, and time is money. So if there's an opportunity or an issue on site where a quick decision needs to be made, we really don't want to be holding up contractors, subcontractors. One worker out there is $1,000 a day. We may have 50 guys over at fire substation. We may have somewhere between 100 and 150 guys at peak capacity over at public safety and DPW from time to time. If we run into an unforeseen condition at either of those sites, if we run into large scale changes where there's a potential that if a decision isn't made that day, that the project needs to be put on hold, needs to be shut down, we're looking at pretty big impacts on a day-for-day basis, or an hour-by-hour basis at that point. So what this memo allows the select board to do is authorize a 3-person technical review committee to work hand in hand with the PMA and KBA team, Fontaine team as well, to identify and authorize changes on a discretionary and non-discretionary, discretionary and necessary basis. So a necessary change would be able to be accepted by the technical review committee at any cost. This would be something that comes up on site that if we don't move on it, the project would, construction would need to stop and a decision would need to be made. And there's no other opportunity for this work to occur in a different way without a change to the contract. Versus a discretionary change, the technical review committee that has authorization up to $50,000. If they need to make a decision on just minor changes in the building throughout, I think I'm trying to think if we had 156 change events on the public on Blanche James. But the TRC was able to review weekly those discretionary changes up to 50,000. Those are all reviewed on an item by item basis by the PMA team, the KBA team, and their engineers as well. A recommendation to move if the costs are acceptable to move forward is provided to the TRC, and they would vote on it. The one point of clarification that should be made here is the item 6, where the discretionary amounts are above $50,000. What the PMA team will do is draft a letter to this municipal building committee. And if the TRC is willing to move on it, we'll draft a letter to the municipal building committee, advising that this is the planned change. It's above 50,000. It's recognized as a discretionary change. And we'll ask that anyone who has an issue, identify it within 24 hours if they want to place a hold, where we would need to schedule a meeting. If no hold is replaced, the TRC would then have the authority to go above that 50,000 limit. All this being said, the final change order ratification, the actual contract piece of it, happens at the select board meeting. These PCOs on an individual basis are authorized and allowed to be, allow the contractors and the subcontractors to continue with the change work without Fontaine having the formal change order in hand, but having the good faith that the select board is going to be presented the same way that PMA did for Blanche Ames on a month-to-month basis as necessary for those change events to be wrapped into a change order. Happy to take any questions, Chad. If I missed anything, jump in. But we're very happy with this, the way that this worked for Easton Blanche Ames. So we're very happy to be recommending it to this group for this process.
Can I just add that it was great from my perspective too. I was not on the TRC, the director of operations, and Ken was on it, and I think Bubba and Steve would go occasionally. But whenever there was an issue that needed sort of the education perspective, they always let me know in advance, and I would go maybe answer a couple questions, but for the most part, wasn't needed at all. And they did a great job, and it made things move as smoothly as Walter is saying, and very timely, because there were very important things that had to be done. I never disagreed with the TRC. I know most of you are very familiar with this process, but in case anybody isn't, I really recommend it. Like Walter said, you don't want to hold things up, and I know there are experienced people on here that will do a great job on it.
Thanks, Leisha.
Yeah, and I would just say, Leisha, I appreciate the comments from your side too, and that perspective, because on the select board side, it works very smoothly, and it opens it up. Obviously, Walter and Chad, others that have attended select board meetings are usually hammered with a bunch of questions, and you're always prepared. So you come there ready to answer, questions from lay people like us. So we appreciate it.
No problem. Happy to do it.
Yeah, maybe you could just refresh my recollection here, Walter. As far as the committee goes, it's from the MVC. Dan has volunteered to be our rep, and then from the town it was Dave. Wasn't there? I just can't remember who else.
So the three positions. Yeah, no problem. The three positions are a representative from Town Hall or its designee. So Dave, so Connor recommended that Dave Field be the representative from Town Hall or his designee, representative from the Municipal Building Committee with public construction experience. So I believe that was Dan, who is willing to participate. And then the third one is a representative of Town's Facility Department. And Dave Field recommended Todd be the third member of the group. So been looking to get in touch with those guys. I know there were some vacations. So we are ready to kick off those TRC meetings. We typically meet weekly, hoping to maybe meet after our weekly meeting. But I'll get in touch with Dan, Dave, and Todd regarding those. I think sometimes we've had them go as quick as 5 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes on the long end, but we'll try to make sure we have all the information that we need to review in order for you guys, so that we're not holding up or taking too much of your time on a weekly basis.
Yeah, it was Todd. I forgot. Thank you. I couldn't, because I knew we jumbled them around a little bit there. Yeah, that was the third person. Any other questions or comments, concerns about the technical review committee?
So Walter, where are these discretionary changes coming from? Is it the design team? Is it the owner? Is it, I mean, I understand things come from all over the place during construction,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, no, it's a great question. You're exactly right. They do come from all over the place. So this could be, something that maybe police, DPW, or fire, we didn't have it in the design originally. There's an opportunity to change something. Maybe there's a higher end finish that's going to provide a longer lifespan, much better durability, that maybe was not value engineered out, but in order to make sure that we were going to be on budget, something like that. Now then there's, maybe a design and a finish. Chad, I'm trying to think of some other ones that maybe are not owner driven that might be discretionary.
I mean, we just had another one on a project in Taunton where they were looking at just changing the pattern in vocational school. So I want to do a cool thing with gears in the terrazzo. So cool concept, tie it into the program of the building. That fell into discretionary territory.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
So that type of stuff. Yep.
okay. And then from my understanding, when I read through the memo, basically everybody signs off on it, and then the committee votes on whether to approve the PCO.
So there'll be a recommendation from KBA and PMA before it comes to you guys, and then it would be the three view voting, and it would be a majority rules in that case, and then I'm not sure we would then be authorized to execute that PCO and get it back over to Fontaine so that they know that that piece of that change is ready, or that change is ready to go.
Okay. And then is one of us I'm assuming it'd be like Dave is the authorized, who's signing under the owner?
Yeah.
Section of like the G701 or the PCO form.
So on the PCO form, I think it would be perfectly acceptable to have any one of the members of the TRC. I don't think we spelled that out, but I think that would
we usually just stamp it. We'll just say the technical review committee approved at their meeting on X date, and then we track who's present at the meeting right in the change log so that we know who was there, who weighed in on it.
Okay.
I will say in like 10, would have had this process in place for 10 years on probably close to 15, 20 projects. I don't think I can't recall a time that the three members of the technical review committee were not on the same page. I think generally everyone is in agreement, and there's no dissent, which is good. But
and then regarding Dan, I think where you were heading, that was the change order. So on a monthly basis, PMA, Fontaine, KBA will go through exactly what we have authorized in the change log. KBA will then draft a change order. PMA will put a recommendation letter together. I'm not sure if you've seen one from the Blanche Ames project, but it comes with the recommendation, the list of PCOs that are included, and then an update on the schedule, contingency utilization versus the contract completion dates. So a full update goes to the select board on a month-to-month basis, and then PMA will present it to them for their approval. And typically we give them a little construction update when we go there too.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. So that goes over to Dottie and Connor for signature after for the change order piece of it.
Okay.
Through the select board.
It worked very well on the last project. I mean,
Ken spent a lot of time with those things, Ken.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very good process.
Okay. Yeah, I've always had, one person from whoever the client is, city, town, who's just that designated person that goes over everything with the design team and the contractor.
Yep.
Alrighty. Any other questions, comments, concerns? All right, and I did want to thank you, Dan, for offering this up. It's very helpful, especially based on your knowledge base. So I think it's going to work out great. So why don't I'll take a motion to recommend the technical review committee protocol to the select board as outlined in the memo.
So moved, Stebbins.
Second, Carlson.
Second, Carlson. All right, well, roll call vote. I am a yes. Ken?
Yes.
Jamie?
Yes.
All right, Lauren?
Yes.
All right, Dan?
Yes.
So got you, Dan?
Yep.
Yeah. I was hoping you, yeah.
Sorry.
And Jason.
Yes.
All right. So that passes unanimously. And that,
I'm assuming that, Andy, that, the NBC is okay naming the individuals on the, on the, review committee, and that we don't have to have that done by the board. Just the process.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's what we did last time.
Yep.
Alrighty. Alrighty. All right, I think maybe Walter, if you want to talk about schedule next steps, I don't know. If you
Yeah,
want-
I kind of hit schedule next steps already.
Yeah, we kind of did it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. So we are at the select board on Monday night for this. We also have a KBA contract amendment going over to them for geotechnical soil inspections, a known item. We just need to get that authorized in their contract. It's in the budget already, identified. Just need to get that authorized from the select board. So this is going to go to them on that. And then we'll be underway with the TRC process. We have a PCO already in review with the engineers. Like I said, you'll see a lot of activity going on, a lot of moving pieces. I don't think you'll be able to see over the fence for a few months or so, but they'll be digging, excavating, foundations going on. And then later would be structural steel. And then I think, Andy, on really next steps on probably a month-to-month basis, the NBC is going to want a construction update. Do you have a standing date set? Since we're out of design, we're kind of not your priority, I don't think, right now. So we can adjust to whenever you guys have anything, but if you have something set up already for a monthly NBC meeting where you'd like a construction update, we could certainly provide that. If you want to take some time and go through that with the members of the NBC and let us know, we can adjust to that as well.
Yeah, I don't think we have anything else pressing because all those other projects are pretty much wrapped up. So, I mean, I would probably think sometime in June, Walter, might make sense. Does that work when you're in?
Well,
or just a construction update, or?
I think we may want to just tentatively schedule if there's a Tuesday, like I don't know if the second Tuesday of the month works, where we can give you guys a construction update.
We can go monthly if you'd like. That's fine.
I'm not sure if we need it at this point. If you guys need it, I'm not sure what you guys need. That's really what I'm asking.
Well, we'll shoot for something in June, and we can do a construction update then. And if we think we're falling behind, you know, obviously if something pressing comes up, you know, we can meet. Obviously, everyone understands that if there's some major issue, we can meet on a very short notice. But
yeah, that sounds.
Why don't we start with June, and then we'll just see where we'll shoot for early June. And if we think we was a little too lagging, then we'll step them up to monthly.
Sounds good. We'll start with June and see if every other month works for a construction update. We can certainly handle that for you guys.
Yeah, and I think. Go ahead, Jamie.
Andy, I was just saying, and Walter, has all the steel? Have we already? Tell me where we are in the procurement.
So we have submittals in. We have a lot of submittals in. We have ASIs in. We have a PCO for steel. I think we're good. Griff, are you fully bought out on steel?
Yeah, so there's been some RFIs, so basically, you know, questions on the detailing that they need responses in order to actually build their shop drawings for every piece of steel that's going to go up. We're expecting those shop drawings next week. Right now we have, I believe, a 7/16 start date for steel at the fire station, which we've done a lot of work with this steel subcontractor and very comfortable that they'll be able to get the material made and down to us to meet that July date.
And you guys obviously know where I'm going with this. So
yeah, no, I think you're more concerned about price increases, right, Jamie? I mean, what are you folks seeing on the horizon? Are we going to beat those
Chad,
price
you want to pull up your graph?
Give me a second, I can pull up.
All right.
Honestly, until it's on site, you don't know these days.
PMA's done some, specifically Chad did some research for you guys. I think we shared it with Connor, and maybe someone else. But kind of
talking about the GC language.
no, the chart that I think maybe you haven't seen this, Connor. It was in response to this question, but really what happened last time in 2016, 2018.
It's hard to keep track of charts right now.
I know. Sorry.
I put it into the chat here.
All right.
No, it's not gonna let me do that.
Can you share screen?
Yeah, you can share your screen,
Yeah.
Chad.
Sure.
I mean, our exposure is pretty great right now, right? I mean, we're
bid out.
Can everybody see that?
Yep.
it just popped up.
So this is the MSBA's bid data chart, and we had a lot of the same exact conversations back in 2018, specifically around structural steel. That's probably the biggest single thing that we purchased for these K through 12 buildings that has a 7-figure price tag and can be a substantial percentage of the projects. So what I did is I just chunked the MSBA average data. Each one of those little dots is an individual project. So there's over 200 dots and data points on this graph going back to 2010-ish. So we break it up into really 2 to 3 year chunks. We can see the blue line here is one piece of escalation data, then the gray line, then the black line. And if we jump right across all three of those and we grab all the way from 2010 to 2018, it gives us an escalation trend for MSBA bid data. And then fast forward into that 2018 until the first quarter of 2020 when the pandemic happened. If we stack those on top of each other, we really held basically the same exact line. So there was a lot of talk about how the market will react and how the bid data will respond, and we did not see anything as a result of those tariffs. I think the simple explanation is that we buy Canadian steel not because it's 25% cheaper, because in the lowest responsible and eligible bidder world, it might be 2% cheaper. So you're going to go with the less expensive option, so you can be low bid and win the project. If an American option exists, which it does right now, is I think the U.S. steel plants are at about 80% capacity. They're just going to pivot, and we're going to see more domestic steel in a lot of these projects, and that'll pull down the price and stabilize things a bit. The pandemic definitely hurt. The pandemic, there's a bunch of factors there. Right? We had chip shortages, material shortages, labor shortages. A lot of people left the workforce. So, I mean, that's something that we're definitely grappling with. And you can see even going into the future, the MSBA didn't trend their data at that point, because a lot of these blue ones are budgets and not actuals. But I mean, that's going to hold that same line at least through, hopefully not 2027, but right now it's certainly tracking that way.
We're going to try.
So I think the yellow bar there, the 2018 to 2020 tariff. So if we're just going basically on what happened in the past, we can use that as a key indication of what we might expect in the year and a half, 2 years to come.
Good news is, I think though, we're bid out, and Fontaine and Griff and Rob have their steel contract. I believe our steel is coming from Canada. It's Norgate. We've worked with them in the past. They are very efficient. Their erectors are very efficient. So hopefully they're able to minimize any issues on their end as well.
Yeah, some of the other materials that we talked about a lot back in 2019 were aluminum and glass that were coming from over in Europe. But we don't use a ton of that. We really don't have much in these buildings that comes from China. Not even really a whole lot that comes from Mexico. A lot of the stuff is domestic. So those few outliers just make up a small percentage of these projects, which is fortunate.
Very helpful, and I appreciate that you guys are watching it this closely as well. So thanks, Chad.
Of course.
See, Jason, you got a question?
I just had a quick one. I know that with some of the other projects going on with the the water treatment plant and everything, many of the things that delayed it were some of the electrical switchgear and components having to do with the electricity. What's the horizon look like that in regards to this project at this point?
Discussed on a weekly basis, but I think Griff and his team are on it. If you want to give them an update, Griff, on where we're at for switchgear, I think we discuss it every week.
Yeah, so that's another one we're expecting next week. something we've done in the past is, usually the way the submittal process works is, we'll put it in through, we're using Procore, and then there's usually like a 3-week turnaround to get the submittal back. With stuff like this where we know the lead times are longer than, your typical materials, we'll usually set up meetings with the design team to kind of streamline that review process. And that's been very helpful to release material. So that is something that we've talked about, like Walter mentioned, weekly. Once we get that submittal, we'll start setting up those meetings. And hopefully, from the time of submittal, depending on, comments and where they're at, we could get it released in the next, week or two, depending on how quickly that return goes.
I want to say, Griff, you guys have even been tracking through those suppliers, through your electrical subcontractor, the timeframes, and they have improved slightly over the past month or so, and we're still tracking. They are long still, but they've slightly improved from where they were even when you guys got on board.
Yeah, switchgear, generator's another one that we see out pretty far. But we've had those conversations with the electrician that's been on board for a little while now. So they're working through their buyout, and then once they're, they have their guys lined up, they get, say, a couple weeks for them to put their shop drawings together, and then that's where we start this review.
So it's kind of a team effort to battle this issue, but it's working pretty well.
Yeah, and I would say, Jason, the big constraint, and Griffin, you can probably validate this, is really the fire substation, where we have just a much shorter schedule. On the public safety and DPW projects, that schedule is just longer, and the lead up to those buildings is a little bit longer. So there's a little bit more, kind of running room to get those up. That said, those are bigger pieces, so they're a little bit longer in lead time, but there is a bit more running room there. The tight time frame really will be that fire substation.
Who's the electrical sub?
Same as Blanche James, Levangie.
Cool.
Yep. We have quite a few of the same filed subs.
Alrighty. All good questions. Any other questions?
I just had one other
Close out,
question, kind of off the beaten track, but is there going to be project signs at the sites?
Like the MSBA, the big one?
Well, something that tells the voting public what's going up, because I'm sure a lot of people that were in a town meeting or were involved in, in the project or the vote may not know what's going on. Think it's another shopping center or something.
We don't own, Greg, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure we don't own one in the specifications. They have one up there.
I'll verify, but I believe we do have some site signs.
Okay, great. You mean like for the actual construction project?
Yeah, I believe so. We typically do.
Griff, have you guys started any procurement on something like that?
I haven't seen that yet, but we do have somebody that we use that's right down the street from our Springfield office that turns those around really quick. And
let's take a look at that tomorrow and see how if they're in there, how quick we can turn those around. But that's a great idea. There is traffic signage up. Depot Street is pretty quick, and we've had traffic details, so you'll see those up. There'll be scrim on the fence, but there'll also be banners for the Fontaine team and probably maybe some of the trades that are working there. We'll have banners up for who's working. We'll have check-in signs for people that are walking by. We definitely have some curious people. So I think someone was outside the trailer for 40 minutes or maybe an hour and 40 minutes watching an excavator get worked on today. So
sidewalk supers.
Yeah. They didn't distract anyone, but they were curious. So we'll get an eye on that. We'll give you guys an update.
It might have been me. I don't know.
No. It was a full walker. So I was a little nervous.
Hey, Griffin, last one for you. This is the catch-all. How many questions did you prepare for that we didn't ask you tonight? And any that you might just proactively, throw out?
I had a feeling the tariff question was coming. Good on you for that one. No, I mean, I'm used to, we do a lot of public work, so we're typically in these meetings, monthly or however often you guys decide to have them, so we're more than happy to be here.
We appreciate it. And you guys obviously come with a fantastic reputation. I was born in Springfield, but haven't lived there in many, many years. But we're excited to have you guys on board, and I think that's a shared sentiment throughout the town.
Happy to be here. We'll have to get you back in Springfield.
That'd be great.
All right. I think we've kind of covered everything on the agenda. Any other new business? I think we hit anything. I don't.
Do we want to hold June 10th, second Tuesday of June?
Yeah, why don't we do that, Walter?
Right.
Yeah, why don't we put that, and then we'll kind of speed them up or slow them down based on that, because like you said, there's just a lot of earthwork being done right now. So what is that? June 10th, right? You said.
Yep.
Was that a Tuesday? Yeah, so Tuesday.
Yep.
At 6 p.m. And I didn't know. I think I think they extended the whole Zoom remote meeting thing got extended, right, from the state, because way back when
It
there were
did.
dates, but yeah, it did, right, Connor? Yeah. So we don't have any deadlines. We could still be remote. It sounds like for a while now.
It's the date of our election. I don't know if that makes a difference.
Oh, we can shift a week if we need to. That's fine.
Well,
Was it June 10th?
Lauren, I appreciate you bringing that up because I forgot about it too. The polls close. Connor, can you confirm? Is it 8 p.m.?
I'm sorry, or the question as far as scheduling the NBC, you were thinking June 10th?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is the election day.
Yeah,
Is that
would
the
not-
town meeting?
yeah,
Yeah.
so the polls are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. that day, so not a good day.
Yep. We'll shift, and we won't go back. We'll go out one if
Oh,
that.
one. Yeah, I was gonna say. So why don't we say the 17th then?
Yeah, that's fine.
We'll tentatively, and I'll put it out to everyone as we go to make sure we get quorum. But okay, why don't we put that as the next date? So June 17th, Tuesday.
17th.
Good call, Lauren. Thank you.
All right. Seeing that I don't think we had any other new business, I will take a motion to adjourn.
So move, Stebbins.
Stebbins, do I have a second?
Second, Cruz.
Cruz, all right. Do the roll call vote. I am a yes. Ken?
Yes.
Jamie?
Yes.
Lauren?
Yes.
All right. Dan?
Yes.
All right. And Jason?
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you very much for attending. Everyone's enjoying the spring, and sure we'll hear about some good progress at our next meeting on June 17th.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Everyone.
Okay. We're
Thank you
adjourned.
all.
All right.
Thank you all.
Good night.
Okay, went well.
Yeah, I always love it when my computer does these updates, and all of a sudden it's like,
I didn't tell it to do
wait,
that.
wait. I know. It happens to me all the time. Between even Apple does it and Microsoft does it. You know, it says like if you don't click this button, it's going to happen. And you're like, oh boy.
Well, one of the times that it did it, when I was trying to get in, it had a window behind what I was looking at, so that was my issue. So this
Oh, yeah, you
time,
had to
and my
close
daughter
that.
was here. My daughter's my saving grace. She's very calming, so it went well. We were fine. Yeah.
It was it the other day. Like it just technology is just fascinating. I couldn't get my printer to work. I just unplugged it. Now it's fine. You know.
Well, yeah.
Like
Always in the first step, unplug it or shut it
Yeah.
off and see what happens.
But you know, I know it's mind-boggling sometimes. You know, it's too technical.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
All right, so yeah,
Very
we'll
good.
shoot. We're gonna shoot. Yeah, we'll shoot for June. We'll have to kind of just see how it goes for the meetings.
Yeah.
You know, I go to a weekly meeting, so I know all this stuff because I go to every Tuesday morning. There's a meeting.
Oh.
So yeah, there's a
Do
construction
you have to
meeting. every
go?
Tuesday.
Do you have to actually be on site?
It will. I didn't ask them because it's really not germane to this group, but it's at 9:00 on Tuesdays. But it will go now that the trailers are there.
Yeah.
You know, now that they have power and trailers, they'll probably be. I think what they talked about is doing a hybrid construction meeting. You know, so people, you know, if the chiefs are out and about or something,
Yeah.
you know, Connor. I mean, it just gives them a time. They can call in, but you know, I'm going to try to go to them because I'm a person that has to be there. I need to walk around.
Yeah. You've had
That's what I
how
was
many
asking.
people at the meetings? How many check in?
I mean, these construction meetings, there's usually a dozen people. Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah, because you get the designers, you got the OPM, you got the construction folks, and then a lot of times the department heads are there too, and Connor are on those calls.
So you're getting like
You know.
real-time updates. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good, the weekly ones. But I'd like to go. That's why I was asking. I'm sure once they'll start, I'm going to try to be around on Tuesday mornings.
You'll be
You
the
know.
walker. You'll be the walker
Yeah,
on
it's
site.
always,
Yeah.
it's more interesting to be there than to hear about it. You know, it just
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Good.
All right. So
Very
if you
good.
need anything, let me know.
All right, will do. I thank you.
All right.
Thank
All right.
you.
And have a good rest of your spring
Yeah, we
into
got a
your
little
summer.
time.
Goodness,
Yeah.
it's coming quick.
Stay safe.
All right. We'll
Alrighty,
see you.
bye-bye.
All right, Kathy. We'll see you.